Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl, Grace Tori, and I am back with a whole new podcast episode. Today we are reading Reddit stories all about brides, and then we're going to be judging if they're the bridezilla or if their actions are justified. If you're new here, I post a lot of story times, mainly Reddit stories, so if that is something that you like to hear about, come join. I upload every single Sunday and Wednesday, and we would love to have you. Before I jump in, of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the fun things. Leave a follow, whatever the term is on whatever platform you're currently listening or watching on. Takes about 0.2 seconds, is completely free, and means the absolute world to me. You're helping me get one step closer to my dream, and that is amazing, incredible. Like, I cannot thank you enough. So if you did that, that would be super duper cool. Without further ado, let's go ahead and read some stories about brides. I'm Grace Tori, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. As per usual, all of these are from Best Redditor updates, so they all have an update or some sort of conclusion. I'm not able to sleep at night if I don't know what happens, and I'm assuming you guys are like me and you aren't either, so this is the place to be if you like having conclusions, because I cannot stand when I don't know what's going to happen next. So, let's read our first story. My 30 female friend, 29 female, isn't speaking to me after I RSVPed no to her child-free wedding. I saw the recent post about the child-free wedding drama and decided to ask for some help on my own child-free wedding situation, although I'm not sure if there's really anything that can be done about it. One of my oldest and closest friends is getting married this spring on the other side of the country, where she lives. Her wedding is going to be one of those huge, fancy gala affairs with an $80,000 price tag. Wait, I want to make sure I said that right because I always get it confused.
How to pronounce gala. 3 correct ways.
Oh, there's multiple ways? We're going to go with the first one. Gala. So, it's going to be one of those huge, fancy gala affairs with an $80,000 price tag. That is a crazy, insane amount for a wedding. But if you got it and you want to spend it, go off. I would if I could. So, honestly, do your thing. She's been planning it for 3 years. It's a big deal to her. Over the years, I've been happy to help her plan her wedding and enthusiastically gave my input on photographers, venue choices, color schemes, etc. However, she decided she wants a child-free wedding. That's fine, it's her wedding. She has only thinly veiled contempt for children, which has been tough because I have an almost 3-year-old child. So I RSVP'd no to her wedding. I sent her a very nice, expensive gift along with the RSVP. I just couldn't make it work. The flight is so long, it would be terrible to go for just an overnight or a weekend. I'm not emotionally ready to be away from my daughter for longer than that. It didn't seem unreasonable to me to have my husband and I each take a week or so off work so we could fly there, only to have him stay in the hotel room with our daughter. There was no permutation of attending that was not awful for me, so I declined the invitation. She has not spoken to me since. It's been weeks. She is a very wealthy, very beautiful professional model, only child with a history of always getting what she wants. I'm worried that our friendship is ruined. Did I screw up? Is there any way I can salvage this? I know the mantra here is communicate, but she's not speaking to me, which makes that tough. So off the bat, there's a couple of things that are going on in my head. You said that the mantra here is to communicate, but she's not speaking to you. You didn't really communicate with her that you weren't going. Like, you RSVP'd no, but if this is standard like any other RSVP typically is, you literally just go on their website or text them and say like no. So is this like a yes or no, or did you elaborate on that? Also, I'm going back and forth because you can't expect the groom and the bride to do anything for you. Anything that they do should be out of kindness. I personally believe that if you're having like a destination wedding and you have people who can't afford to come, if you really want them there, the nice thing to do would be pay for them. But again, I don't necessarily think that we can expect people to pay for us. This is not a destination wedding because it's in her hometown or where she currently lives. So it kind of makes it murky. You would be having to travel, but most people probably wouldn't, if I'm guessing correctly. So it's not like they're thinking about like all of these kids are going to be out of their element. Like they should have babysitters. I feel like personally you should have said, hey, this is a child-free wedding. I want to respect that, but it's going to be a bit tough for me having to fly. Like, do you know of any babysitters, or do you know what the other parents are doing with their kids? Like, there are different ways that you could go about this that isn't just like RSVPing no, because yeah, like you're supposed to communicate, but I don't necessarily think that's communicating. I think that that's just running away from the conversation because it's not going to be comfortable. Let's read some relevant comments. First one is, since you've been involved with the wedding planning for 3 years, has it really never come up in conversation about whether you'd be able to attend? It's difficult to imagine how this could be possible, but even if it is, when you responded no, did you include a note as to why? Exactly. This is gonna change everyone's opinions, I think. All our conversations about the child-free element have been her complaining viciously about anyone who had a problem with it. Like, my effing cousin asked if she could bring her idiot kids after I very carefully said it was child-free with no exceptions. In fact, I kind of got the impression that she was deliberately bringing these things up to me to be very clear that there would be no exceptions for me either. So no, I didn't discuss it with her because it seemed like there was nothing to discuss. She obviously wasn't going to budge on the issue, and it's her wedding, so she can do what she wants. I still think you should have had the conversation. I don't think that it necessarily, like, saying, "Can she come with me?" would have been the correct way to go about it, but at least, like, talking to her about what options you have, because 'cause you're not in that area, so you don't even know, like, what everybody else is doing, what the vibe is. So you genuinely asking, "What am I gonna do with my 3-year-old?" is a valid, like, thing to talk about, and I think that her response to that would have given you more clarity. Like, if she would have been like, "Leave her at home with her grandparents for a week," obviously, that would have been pushing it, and that would have been a little bit more like bridezilla. Yes, what she's saying is bridezilla. However, child-free weddings are really, really common, at least where I am, and I don't think that not having children come is a bad thing necessarily. Also, I don't think that not having exceptions is wrong either, because if you start having exceptions, then people are gonna start walking all over you, or someone's gonna get upset because they didn't bring their kid and they see that somebody else's kid is there. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. That was a little aggressive. Just laying on their horn, that's fine. All right. I wonder what that was about. I honestly think that everyone is a bit of the a-hole here. Not that this is even like, am I the a-hole? It's just you should have communicated. She is being a little aggressive when it comes to this, but maybe she's just venting to you as a friend. And like, if she's acting this way around everybody, then that's very bridezilla. Like, if she's turning to her cousin and being like, "You can't bring your idiot kids," that's a bit bridezilla. But if she's venting to you, maybe, and she's not saying this to everybody else, I could see where it would kind of alleviate her a little bit of being the a-hole. I think that there's just some miscommunication. I don't even know if it's miscommunication. I think there's a lack of communication going on. Oh, okay. So another comment is, well, of course she can do whatever she wants. I'm a little confused though. So you realize all along that you want to be attending, correct? But you never said anything to her? I don't mean say anything in an effort to get her to change her mind about having children at the wedding. I'm talking about telling her what you've written here, that you want to be able to attend as you would not want to leave your child alone. So has she been under the impression that you were going to attend? If she did think that and you didn't explain anything on your RSVP, then I guess she's bewildered or upset that you're not coming because she's assumed all along you would be. And then they did respond and say, "It did come up briefly about a year ago, but we didn't have a long discussion about it. I said something about how it was going to be really tough for my family to make it work, and she said something like, 'LOL, you can leave your kid at home, figure it out.'" Okay, yeah, that's pushing into bridezilla territory. I have this deep-rooted belief, and this is probably gonna come up in other stories too, that you can make whatever decisions you want for your wedding. Child-free, not child-free. Invite your grandparents, don't invite your grandparents. Have a reception, don't have a reception. Have a destination wedding, don't. And you can make whatever decision you want because it's your wedding. However, you cannot control how people are gonna respond to that decision. So, for example, if you don't want to invite a certain member of a family and you know it's going to cause drama, you have to be okay with the drama because, well, it's my wedding is a reason, but it's not an excuse. And people are going to want answers, whether it's, well, I never really liked them and I don't want them there, or, well, they cause a lot of problems, or there just wasn't enough room on the guest list. Like, whatever reason it may be, people are going to come looking for answers, and you have to be okay with that. Like, it's the consequences of your actions, like the trade-off for what you're doing. You can make whatever decision you want about your wedding, but you're gonna have to either answer to the people you upset along the way or be okay with risking that relationship. Because communication is, in my opinion, something that can solve almost everything, but there are certain things that I don't know if it can solve completely, and it's gonna leave a scar. Let's jump on ahead to the update. It is 5 days later. I waited to post this until the weekend because the reaction to the original post was so harsh, I had to leave work early in tears. My responses to comments were downvoted past -500. Oh no. Commenters called me hideous, spoiled, entitled, a bad parent, and so on. I don't think that you're any of those things. What the heck? A few people sent me private messages with actual advice, but they didn't want to post them publicly because anyone who didn't come at me with pitchforks was downvoted below 0. I will post more defensive stuff after the actual update. I'm sorry, bestie. I don't mean to like come at you at all. I think that you both just could have handled this a little bit differently, but that doesn't make you a bad person. That makes you a human. So I'm sorry that people are coming at you. What happened? I sent my friend an apologetic email. At the advice I got here, I didn't try to raise any of the issues I had with her. I just apologized over and over and begged for her forgiveness. She continued to ignore me, and her husband-to-be called me drunk late that night. Turns out that every single one of her girlfriends has chosen not to attend the wedding. Oh, since I'm doing long distance, I didn't know this, but she had a huge falling out with her entire friend group, mainly over her bridezilla-esque behavior and comments like, I don't know how to interact with fat people. They make me uncomfortable. Oh, okay, yeah, she's the worst. We don't want to be friends with her. Every one of her local friends had already decided to boycott the wedding and the friendship, so it was the only friend she had left planning to come. That's crazy. I don't like that. Yeah, so she is definitely a bridezilla. I think that if you're a bridezilla, this is a hot take, guys, clearly, but if you're a bridezilla, it's just your true colors finally coming out because you're thinking about, like, all these decisions that are gonna impact you, and I feel like it's just, like, your character fully coming out. You can't mask it as much. Like, "Oh, I don't want this type of people coming. They make me uncomfortable." You didn't say that until now, but I'm sure you thought that way before the wedding. So that's crazy. We don't like this friend. She is a bridezilla. To hell with you. My friend's husband told me all this while telling me that I was an effing and I ruined their wedding. I think that the bride did that all on her own. He also repeatedly brought up, you know how much we spent on this, and told me I don't deserve someone like her as a friend. This is when I wish I could hold up a mirror. Like, just look at yourself in the mirror for 5 seconds and tell me, do we feel accountable yet? No? Okay, 50 seconds. We're going to keep going until you have some sort of remorse. I'm not sure what to do at this point, or if I'm even still invited to the wedding. I feel terrible for her and completely understand why she's not speaking to me now. I wish she had told me earlier how bad things have gotten with her local friends. If she continues not to speak to me, I suppose that is the resolution, although not a happy one. Do you still want to be friends with her, though? Like, that's not the type of person I would want to be friends with. Now, to defend myself against the vicious attacks that came at me in the last post, first, I want to clarify why I chose not to go. A lot of people accuse me of making up excuses, but it was really all the factors put together that made it too inconvenient. The options, as I saw them, were attend alone for a weekend. Undesirable because it's a long flight and a lot of money to spend for a single weekend. It's possible, but sounds miserable to me. Some people commented that they've done the cross-country flight there and back in a single day. Good for you guys, but it just sounds too unpleasant and I didn't want to do that. Okay, this is where you're getting a little unreasonable because, like, if she was that great of a friend and that you were that close, you would make it happen. Like, my best friend, when she got married, I flew to Miami by myself, and then I also flew to Vegas by myself. Not by myself, I had another friend with me for Vegas for her bachelorette and her wedding. Because she is so important to me that even though I literally had like $100 for that whole trip, like that, both of them were like 5-day trips, and I had like $100 for each, but I made it work because that's my best friend. Like, I would be there if she got married in freaking Antarctica, I would be there. So I don't think that saying "Ugh, it sounds too unpleasant and I didn't want to do that is a valid excuse. It just sounds like you're not willing to like do it, which is fine. I get not wanting to do that every single time one of your friends like gets married, but communicate that. I feel like it's kind of like a cowardly thing to do to like RSVP no and not at least tell her why. Like, send a quick message right before you do it. Go for a longer trip alone. I could have potentially made a longer vacation out of it to give myself time to recover from the flight, jet lag, etc. But I don't want to leave my daughter for longer than a weekend. It's hard on her, hard on my husband, and hard on me. I would just miss her too much. My husband and I are both attorneys and we work long hours, and I already feel like I miss out on a lot of time with my daughter, so taking an entire week away would be too hard on me emotionally, and I didn't want to do it. Go with the whole family. Husband and I both have to take time off work, so this would probably be our only vacation for the year. We would have to somehow arrange childcare on the other side of the country, or my husband would have to miss the wedding. I feel like there's just a lack of compromise on both ends, and if the friendship was worth it, then there would have been a conversation, and that's that. All of these are possible, but they sound so undesirable that we agreed I would just send my congratulations and a gift and miss the wedding. Again, that's fine, but we got to communicate that. I really didn't think it was that big of a deal because, as I mentioned in a comment and someone said I should have put in the OP, she actually missed my wedding because of her husband's flying phobia. It didn't offend me at all. I understood perfectly well, and I had a very nice wedding anyway. But did she message you that, or did she just RSVP no with no additional explanation? To the people who said the friendship sounded like it had run its course, you're probably right. It makes me really sad because we went through a lot together. We met when we were 18 and 19 and both worked in the modeling industry, although my time there was short. And we dealt with substance abuse and eating disorders and a lot of other heavy stuff. I'm sorry about that. That's really hard. We supported each other through those things, and I thought we were going to be friends for life, which is probably part of why it was hard for me that she didn't support me when I went through the biggest transition in my life, when I became a parent. I think there were other things I wanted to respond to, but that's all I can think of now. I'm not sure if I will be responding to any comments. It makes me sound or feel really pathetic to admit this, but the last thread upset me so much, I'm not sure I can take another one like that. But I did want to update and also defend myself from all the attacks. So, yeah, it sounds like the bride isn't the greatest, but you also could have communicated better. And I think that that's what I think. She's still a bridezilla, but you could have done more on your end. Am I the a-hole for canceling our wedding venue a couple of months before the wedding day? So about a year ago, I popped the big question. I was deeply in love with my girlfriend and everything felt amazing. That is until she transformed into a bridezilla right in front of my eyes. Ever since we got engaged, all she can do is talk about the wedding, which was fine at first, but it started to consume her. I thought that I would get some say in how the day was going to go, but everything I suggest is immediately shot down. The only choice I got to make was my tux, and even that had to fit her GD color scheme. Well, things really started ramping up when her mother came down for the weekend. She's your typical trailer trash woman who married into a successful family. Hey now, calling names. I get that you're ranting, but the internet is forever. Would you really want your fiance to see you saying that? And if you have no problem saying that in front of her or saying that in general, maybe it's not a good match. I'm gonna keep reading. All her ideas are awful and tacky, yet my fiance laps it up like a dehydrated person in a desert. When I try to bring it up with her, she tells me that this is her big day and I should just be supportive. Okay. It's both of your big days. I told her it was my money and that I should have more say in how it's spent. Her mom picked out a maroon tablecloth and flowers and suns on them. I feel like it's a funeral for a carnival worker. Hey, people have different tastes. That sounds great for people who are trying to follow that theme. You just don't like that theme, which is fine. She even suggested we have beer kegs on tap. Dude, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with beer kegs if it's gonna save you money. Like, what the? Okay. Sorry, I'm getting heated. I think that my issue here is not that you're ranting. I don't think that they should be making all the decisions. It's you and your wife's wedding. I don't understand why the mother is making so many decisions. However, the way that you're speaking about them is not making me very, it's not making me run to your aid. You know, you shouldn't be talking about your fiance like that. You shouldn't be talking about your soon-to-be mother-in-law like that. You shouldn't be talking about their tastes like that just because they're different than yours. It's okay to have different tastes. My boyfriend and I have opposite tastes, but he would never speak like this about my taste. We would be joking. He'd be like, Grace, that's the most awful thing I've ever seen. Joking. And I'd be like, dang, okay, what do you like? And then we'd do it together. But I don't think that he would ever do this. Like, dude, don't talk about her like that. You're making it really hard to side with you. So the last straw was that her and her mother, without my consent, used my credit card as a payment on a venue down by a river instead of the church we discussed where my family has attended for generations and made many contributions. The pricing was even a little cheaper minus the price of the hall afterwards. Who wants to get married next to a stinking river full of flies and whatever insects will float around, on top of all the people who will just waltz up to the river to enjoy the day while we are trying to get married? Again, just because it's not your taste doesn't mean that it isn't a valid thing that people can do. Like, I live near the Ohio River, and Josh also, his parents live near the Ohio River, but a different city. And we're down there, like, we've been by the river a couple times, and yeah, sometimes there's some mayflies or whatever, but it's a lovely place. I think that you're just looking for the bad in it, and you're more upset that she's making decisions without you than the decisions she's actually making. But the way that you're talking about it is gross. You shouldn't be shitting on people for their taste. Maybe just say, like, It's not my taste. I don't prefer it. I really wanted to get married at this church. Why did she do this without asking me first? Like, those are valid questions. Saying that it's a gross rumor, not productive or helpful in this problem solving, okay? Again, I get your venting, but you're kind of aching me out. I finally had enough, so after she told me what she did, I canceled the payment on my credit card after spending hours dealing with my credit card company and told her she could either set up a date at the church or find someone else to marry because I've had enough of this. She spent the last couple hours bawling her eyes out to her mom and making me seem like I'm the monster after she went behind my back. Am I the a-hole in this situation? You're not the a-hole. This is horrible. You definitely shouldn't marry her. Her taking your money is crazy. That shouldn't happen. And I am very sympathetic towards that. Don't get it twisted. She is not treating you well, and this is financially a nightmare, and clearly you're just not a good match. You come from different backgrounds. You're not willing to compromise on that at all. She's not willing to bring you into the decision making, which I think you should definitely have a bigger say in. It's your wedding too, even if you didn't like grow up dreaming about it. You still should have a say. I am on your side. It's just the way that you wrote this, it's not great, and I think that I can understand your anger. Like, I would be pissed if someone took my money, and I would probably say some horrible things in my journal or whatever. But on things that we're posting on the internet where everybody can see it, or in conversations we're having with people, like, is this the way we want to show up? Like, is this the character we want to bring to the table? I'm going to get off my high horse. I'm just saying, karma takes care of it. So, like, you ain't got to worry about it, big dog. Just saying. So, relevant or top comments, the verdict was not the a-hole. Someone did say his fiance taking his money without his consent was like an issue, and OOP responded and said, right, who thinks it's right to take someone's money without their consent and then get mad at them for being upset? Yeah, that's illegal. Like, that's actually stealing. I don't know if you could prosecute because she had access to your account, but morally, I consider that stealing. Commenter 1 said, not the a-hole, maybe it's my values, but I think this day is also very much your day, not just hers, so you should undoubtedly be having a say in this. Unless, of course, you handed her the reins. She's forgetting about the person she's marrying, and I don't think her mother is helping. I don't think this is something that should break you up, not too interested in the break up now kind of solutions, but you should definitely be having a conversation about this. You should also consider how she treats your money now and how she might in the future. Running with your credit card and making a brand new plan without you is definitely a big no. There's no guarantee what might happen when you share finances in the future, but it's definitely food for thought and something to keep in the back of your mind. OP said the financial aspect does have me worried. What if I come home one day to find out we're in debt over our heads over an investment she made without talking to me? Agreed. And then another commenter said, everyone's the a-hole. Your fiance is way out of line booking something with your credit card without discussing it, but you also seem assholishly condescending. That's what I'm saying. My thoughts exactly. You talk about her trashy mother and looking down on her trashy ideas, completely ignoring that these are things your fiance genuinely likes. Her mother's trailer trash? Then that's probably how she was raised. That's what she's comfortable with. Why are you marrying someone when you look down on the way she was raised and the things she enjoys? That's my thoughts. Like, geez. You say the original plan was for you to get married in the church that has been special to your family for generations, but also that you have had no input other than your tux. Those conflicting statements make me wonder what else you've my-wayed or the highwayed her on and not even noticed or cared that you were because it seemed right or normal to you. Honestly, I feel like you both have way more issues to start out than the venue before you get married. I agree. Like, it does give me red flags that he is talking about her this way because it almost makes me feel like anything that is different than what he thinks is not tolerated. And then it steps into like the control issue of like he's trying to control her and like maybe he's taking it just because she told him no about something like, oh, well, she doesn't let me do anything. I have no say. When in reality, he's just being condescending and like shooting down all of her ideas and doesn't like her ideas. So maybe you're just not a good fit, like I said. But I think that she's more of the a-hole because stealing money is never okay. That's not okay. She should have discussed that with you. However, you're the a-hole with how you are treating her and talking about her. So, here is an update. I tried creating a new thread but don't understand how the filters work. Here's what happened after. I got a lot of great advice from my post last, and the main thing that I took away was that someone using your money for large purchases behind your back is a huge red flag. Well, it turns out you guys were right because I decided to look into our finances regarding the wedding and found a lot more than I bargained for. I have a large savings account that I've been putting money into for the last 8 years or so. About a year back, my fiance ran into some vehicle trouble and it was a hassle, so I gave her access to my account in case of emergencies in the future. This same account is what we were using for a lot of the wedding expenses. We agreed on a maximum price that we could spend out of it, and everything else would have to come directly out of our pocket. I don't often keep tabs on the account because it's really in the back of my mind. I put money out of each check into it and move on. Well, after this went down yesterday, I decided to check all of my finances and found out that not only had she exceeded the limit we had agreed to, but that some of the money coming out didn't make sense. She transferred almost $2,000 to her mother recently. Yikes. On bikes. I converted her about this today, and her answer was that her mom needed the money to come down because she can't be spending her money right now due to a new business venture her mother and father were involved in. Ooh. You said that the mom married into a successful family, so that means they have money. So it's not that they don't have the $2,000, it's that your mother-in-law probably wanted to come, or your fiance wanted her to come, so they were like, you know what, I'll just pay for it. And your mother-in-law may or may not know that that came out of your savings account. I was angry because it's BS that not only is the mother and father not helping with the wedding, but we have to pay for them the entire time too. These people are pretty well off, so it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, that is ridiculous. That wasn't the end of it though, because after more arguing, my fiance told me that she paid for her mother and her dad to come down last time too, and it wasn't a big deal, and then I didn't even notice the money was gone, so who cares? After learning all this, I told her the wedding was off for now until I get a chance to think things through. She cried and begged for another chance, but I wouldn't budge. I told her I needed time. She's staying at the hotel with her mother tonight, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm so mad right now and feel really betrayed. I don't know if she's the right one for me anymore. We've talked over the phone recently, but still haven't gotten anywhere. It's a pretty tough situation all around. Thanks for listening. I'll update more if you're still interested. So that was the last update, and that was in 2019. I would imagine they're not together anymore. But yeah, it's kind of, what was it, $2,000 for the mom, not including the venue. Like, that's a lot of money. I am trying to grow my savings account, and putting like $200 in it is a feat. And you've been steadily growing it. Like, $2,000 is a lot of money. That's a lot. So for her to spend that and be like, "Ugh, it's not a big deal." It is a big deal because that's money that you saved up, like hard-earned money that you earned, you saved up, and she just took it without even asking. I understand the, like, concept that some people believe that, like, my money is our money, and I agree to a certain extent. You still need to let people know before you just go and spend their money. Like, it's still not, like, he worked hard for that. That's not for you to spend for your parents to come. It sounds like you guys had an agreement for that to be used towards specific things. There was a budget, and she not only didn't use it for just the specific things, she went out of that budget and spent more money than she should have on things that you didn't agree to. Yeah, there's no other updates, unfortunately. I, 22 female, have been told by my friend, 25 female, that I'll need to dye my hair to be in her bridal party. Buckle up, guys. This is like classic bridezilla behavior, but we'll see it through. We'll see what happens. Oh, by the way, the last girl was a bridezilla, if you didn't catch my drift. Definitely bridezilla. So I've known my friend, who I'll refer to as Ella, since I was a child, as she's the daughter of family friends, but we've only become close in the past 2 or 3 years. She recently became engaged, and I readily accepted her offer to be a part of her bridal party. Yesterday morning, I received an email from Ella. It seemed pretty standard, but then when she got into the look she wants for her bridesmaids, she wrote, "Bride hair throwaway. You'll need to dye your hair for the day. I'll take you to my hairdresser and cover the cost." This had never been mentioned to me. I'm a natural ginger, so it's not like I have an outrageous hair color, although Ella and her other bridesmaids are all brunettes. Oh, it's your natural hair too? That's not something you just do, bestie. I texted Ella about it. She told me my hair would clash with the wedding colors and that the brides get a veto over pretty much every aspect of her bridesmaids' appearances. Not true. She also mentioned my hair is quite attention-grabbing, and I'd take away from the cohesiveness of the group. I told her I wasn't comfortable dyeing my hair. She said she'd get back to me, but hoped I'd reconsider. Am I being reasonable here? I've never been involved in a wedding before, so I'm not quite sure what's expected of me. I've gotten some messages from the other bridesmaids who are telling me I should just do it. Yeah, no, this is not reasonable. I have heard stories where the bride was like, "I really would like it if you dyed your hair," and it was not unreasonable. Very rarely are there exceptions where it's, like, not unreasonable. This is extremely unreasonable. Not only is she wanting you to dye your hair, she's wanting you to dye your virgin hair, I'm assuming. If it's natural, I'm assuming this hair has not been touched. Which means it's never gonna go back to the same way it was, like, for years. It's also red, which means there's other implications regarding that. You're going darker, so you couldn't just as easily go back to lighter. You'll probably never get the same exact red shade until your hair completely fully grows out. This isn't just like a day. This is years of commitment for your hair. And sure, she would take you to the hairdresser and cover the cost. What about after? Like, you're gonna have to keep going and either dye it or pay to have it brought back, which it won't be the exact same, even if it's like just brought back enough to that color that like as it grows out it blends. Like, I don't know, it's expensive. Like, I think the last time I got my hair dyed, I just added in like strips of pink, I think, and it was probably $300 for everything. This is not cheap, and she's definitely not going to pay for the upkeep, even if you were to go through with this, which you shouldn't because it's absolutely ridiculous. Let's read some relevant comments. She's being ridiculous. Tell her you'd love to be a bridesmaid, but you won't dye your hair. And if she insists on the hair, you should decline to be a bridesmaid. OP said, thank you for confirming I'm not crazy. I was considering offering to wear a wig, but I even think that's kind of weird. She's just so casual that she made it seem like a normal occurrence. Another relevant comment, absolutely do not offer to wear a wig. The only thing a bride should have a say in is the style, up or down. Otherwise, she can find a new bridesmaid. Please don't give in. A hairstylist actually did chime in and say, hairstylist here. At first I thought maybe she was trying to tell you that she would pay for you to get highlights or something like that. But if you're a natural redhead and you go darker or lighter and decide you don't like it, you have to put in a lot of time and money to get something resembling your natural hair color. I don't know who your friend thinks she is, but no, she doesn't get to just decide something like that. I didn't even really consider long-term effects of dye. I'll definitely bring that up next time we speak. For sure. And when you're messing with red, it's even worse. So I used to get red in my hair. It was like a deep brunette, but had like red in it. And it took forever to get out because I wanted to go silver after that. Don't recommend. We went from like orange to like maybe platinum and then to silver. And then my hair was so brittle after. It was just bad. So red is really hard to work with. I'm not sure about it naturally, but I know like if it's in your hair as a dye, you're screwed. But if you're trying to dye it back to that color, it's not one that you can like easily replicate. So yeah, definitely don't do it. Here's an update from 1 week later. Long story short, I'm not going to be involved in Ella's wedding in any way. I didn't hear anything from Ella regarding the hair dyeing, so I spoke to my parents, who in turn spoke to Ella's parents, all in their 50s, who then must have spoken to Ella's older brother, 27 male, who I will call Charles, who I've also grown close to over the past few years. A little bit of background, Ella has been with her fiancé Pete, who's 27-ish, since she was 15. He was, and I assume still is, a friend of Charles, which is how Ella and Pete met. Charles called me and informed me that Pete has a redhead fetish. Okay. I don't like that. Because it's not like he has a redhead preference. We're going far enough to say it's a fetish, which is what makes it icky. You know? Like, you can have a preference. Be like, yeah, I usually go for redheads, but man, I love you. Like, he shouldn't say that to her. But as a brunette, like, I could see where it'd be, like, annoying. Every girl that my boyfriend dated, for the most part, before me, was a blonde. I do joke sometimes to be like, wow, you prefer blondes. But it's a huge difference to say you prefer and have, like, a type versus you have a fetish. Like, that is taking it pretty far. That's not, like, that's uncomfortable. I don't know if I'd want to be around that. It's something we always joked about in their teens, although that joking stopped when Pete began dating his younger sister. Ella actually dyed her hair red, something I sort of remember for several years in her teens, but it basically became too damaged and costly to continue doing, and she returned to her natural hair color, so she knows how hard it is to have red hair, and she's still like, yeah, no, you gotta dye your hair. That's crazy. Charles will bet this is why she's requesting I dye my hair. It absolutely is. This all kind of made sense. I met Pete a couple of times, and Ella always seemed to be in a rush to leave the conversation and move on. He also stared a lot. Why was I even asked to be a bridesmaid? Her parents strongly encouraged it and are footing the entire bill. I'm generally a fairly quiet and accommodating person, so I guess she figured I'd just go with it. I emailed Ella to tell her I'm no longer able to be a bridesmaid. I haven't heard anything back, although I know she's seen the message. I will probably not be going to the wedding at all. The whole situation is just too weird and uncomfortable. I'm assuming there's no coming back from this. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be friends with her anymore over this. Like, the fact that she didn't want you to be a bridesmaid, you guys thought you were close enough that you didn't even think twice about it, but she had to kind of be coerced into, like, having you do it, or kind of like, yeah, we won't pay for the wedding. Not that they said that, but having, like, that monetary hold on her. I don't know if I'd want to be friends with her. And the fact that, like, he has a fetish. He's not, like, a rabid animal. If he can't control himself for one night for you to be in the same room, that's a problem. It sounds like either Pete has some really bad issues that he needs to work through and isn't someone she should be marrying, or Ella is really insecure, because if she genuinely believes that you being in that wedding is enough for Pete to like completely lose his mind, turn his head, whatever, that's an issue. That's actually an issue. So yeah, I wouldn't want to be around that. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that, actually. So final comments. I think you did the right thing. It seems weird, but I can understand where Ella is coming from. My boyfriend has always dated blondes before me, so being Asian, I do sometimes feel the same insecurity. While it was an odd request, I do think she meant well. Even normal people can do silly things. I wouldn't worry too much about it being an uncomfortable situation, and I actually think you should go to the wedding. Don't make a silly situation weirder than it has to be. Just go, have a good time, and make sure the bride knows how excited and happy you are for her. OP said, I think my instant reaction to stay out is due to my own experiences with ginger fetishists. They can be weird, and Ella not speaking to me. I'll definitely reconsider things if when she responds, depending on how that goes. Yeah, that's true. I don't know, like, don't let her dull your sparkle. If you want to go, don't not go because she's being weird. But also, if you don't want to go and you don't want to see her and you don't want to, like, pursue that friendship, then I get that too. Like, it's ultimately up to you. I don't think that there's a right or wrong way to do it. I definitely don't think that you should dye your hair, but other than that, you're good. She's the bridezilla. Am I the a-hole for refusing a wedding gift knowing there will be strings attached? And this was originally posted March 24th, 2026, so pretty recent. My fiance, 32 male, and I, 31 female, got engaged on Christmas Eve. Until recently, I had a great relationship with his family, his mom especially. But ever since the engagement, it's become really strained because she keeps trying to insert herself into our decisions and offering unsolicited advice, and I'm slowly getting at my wit's end. A few things that have annoyed me. We want a max of around 50 people. My fiance and I are both introverts, and even the thought of being in front of that many people gives me anxiety. With our close family, friends, and their plus ones, we're probably already over 50. His mother insists the wedding must be a grand event with at least 150 guests. Hell no. It's really expensive, too. Like, even just the introvert aspect, the cost of 50 versus 150 guests is a big jump. I found a gown in a magazine I love, and that's going to be my inspiration. It's more on the simple side, but that's my style. I showed my best friend, my mom, and my future mother-in-law, because I did want her to feel included, and she insisted it was too plain and everyone will think I'm just another guest. At my wedding, being the only one in white. Yeah, that's a little weird. Also, if they're at your wedding, they probably know it's your wedding. They probably would recognize you, like, and know it's your wedding. At least have seen a picture of you, I would imagine. Especially if it's only 50 people, they all know you. The venue we're thinking about is too small and boring. The on-site catering is not special enough, and because my fiancé is an only child, this needs to be a grand affair. Lastly, we need to get a guest list to her so she can review and approve who's coming. No, this is our wedding, not yours. Yeah, get her as far away from you as possible. We've got a mother-in-law Zilla on our hands. Code red. Thankfully, my fiance is on my side, and about 6 weeks ago, called her and said, we know what kind of wedding we want to have, and she needs to stop overstepping and questioning our choices. In an attempt to punish him and assert her authority, she went radio silent until last week. That's what we call pouting. She was pouting. This grown woman was pouting. She invited us to dinner on Sunday and presented us with a check for $25,000 to help with the wedding. When we got home, I told my fiance we are not cashing the check. He thinks I'm being ridiculous, and this can help us have the wedding we want with almost no out-of-pocket costs. Oh, I have a lot of opinions. I'll finish reading first, though. I told him we won't have the wedding we want because she's going to use the money as leverage to push the event in the direction she wants. 110% my thoughts. When she insists on including her friends we don't know and don't care about, she's going to say, oh, I thought the money would help cover them. When we go dress shopping, it'll be, that's a bit simple. I thought with the extra money you'd get something nicer. When we finally choose our venue, it'll be, so what exactly is my money paying for? My fiancé said it will cause a huge rift if we don't accept the money because his mother is extending an olive branch and being generous, but I tried telling him it'll cause a bigger rift if she gets into her mind she has a say in our choices because she's paying for it, and I shut her down every time. I feel like I'm being positioned as a bridezilla. My fiancé thinks I'm overreacting, and it's the tension of the last few months exposing itself. Even my mother said I should just accept the gift. So, I 100% agree. If you accept the money, she's going to expect to have a say in everything. And I don't like that. From a young age, I learned to not accept money from anybody because they will call in that favor down the road. Like, it could be $20 for gas, and 3 years from now, they'll say, remember when you gave me $20? You should do this because I did that for you. Like, there is no statute of limitations on money and people giving it to you. No matter what the situation surrounding it is, no matter how much you trust that person, I just try to sway from accepting money from anybody because it causes a rift in your relationship no matter who it is. Like, it will change things. Even if they are asking for money, they want money, like they're giving you money, whatever the context is, it is going to cause a rift in your relationship. So the best thing you can do for any relationship, whether it's a parent, a friend, a fiance, a mother, like, don't accept money or bring money into the conversation unless you're just like yap about it. If it's like giving or receiving money, don't do it. It's better to just shut it down and say, hey, I have this rule or I just don't. Or give it to them as a gift and don't expect anything in return. Like, don't lend money, don't borrow money. Absolutely not. That's just my thoughts on it. So I 100% agree. She's already expressed her opinion. It's going to happen. Like, do not cash that check. I don't know how much money she has. Like, $25,000 could be $5 to her. It could be her life savings that she's made just for him to have this elaborate, exciting wedding. I don't know. $25,000 is a ton of money to me. Like, that is a life-changing amount of money. But there are people out there who view $25,000 as like $5. It's nothing to them. So, not that that changes anything, but to me, I think that I would not accept it. Here are some relevant comments. Not the a-hole, I'd take the money and put it in a separate account to earn interest, or just consider $25K your zero balance and continue excluding her from decisions you've been doing. If she ever demands her money back, just send it right back and tell her it looks very poorly on her to use a gift as leverage. This makes the scenario a win-win. You're still financing the wedding yourselves. You can use the wedding money for whatever you want, assuming she accepts being excluded, and if she doesn't, you make a little bit of interest and don't actually find yourself in a hole. No, P did say, I like this, thank you. This goes back to, would she notice the $25,000 being cashed? Because I think she would move differently after she saw it was cashed. You could move in the shadows and cash it and then see if she starts demanding things. Then you know, like, okay, that was the plan all along. It's just like, it depends. Like, if she doesn't even notice because that's nothing to her, like, yeah, put it in her savings. If she's gonna notice and it's gonna cause problems, like, as soon as you cash it, she's gonna try and like put a leash on you guys and be like, this is how we're gonna do things, then I don't know if I would necessarily cash it or if I would just hold on to it, even though, like, you shouldn't hold on to checks because then you don't know if the money's gonna be there later. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I just don't like this. I hate that she's putting you in this situation. Commenter 2 said you could just ask if there are any conditions attached. Make sure that you are both present when you ask her. Very good point. You know how earlier in the video I said communication could solve a lot? You're right. They probably should. She might be a little crazy, but that's a good idea, and OOP agreed. And then another comment is, not the a-hole, but if you want to give her the benefit of the doubt, keep the check and see whether or not she tries to insert herself into your wedding plans. Once she does, be prepared to return the check. That's the other thing of, like, do you cash it in a savings account? Do you return it? Like, do you just keep it? I don't like it. I wouldn't have even accepted it. I would have been like, keep it. I don't want it. We're doing this on our own. That's the thing, is you could turn it around and say, like, it's really important to us that we pay for this on our own. It's just a goal of ours. We really appreciate it, but this is just a milestone for us. And then it doesn't bring up anything about like dissing her or not trusting her. It puts it on you. But it does kind of shift away from communication. Like, you still need to have conversations even if you know they're going to be hard, but maybe you don't necessarily always have to. I feel like that would avoid this altogether, but she may still try and control you. So I don't know. There is an update from 3 weeks later, April 12th, 2026. Hi everyone, I posted here a couple of weeks ago and got some wonderful advice. A few people asked for an update and I thought I'd let you know what happened. It's not good. If you didn't see my original post, my future mother-in-law offered us $25,000 towards our wedding, but I knew there would be strings attached to make the event her way. I thought maybe I was the a-hole for overreacting or seeing something that wasn't there, But you all told me I was 100% correct. So I decided to have a heart-to-heart with my future mother-in-law with my fiance attending too. I told her that I missed the relationship we used to have, but it's become strained because I feel like she was not respected the choices we have made for our wedding. We explained that we aren't depositing the check until we have this conversation and we're all on board about how we move forward. I know we didn't need to provide a rationale, we just required acceptance, but I thought it would help her understand. The wedding size. I reminded her that my fiance and I are introverts. We will be maxed out emotionally and mentally with 50 people. And quite frankly, we only want the people that have been a part of our lives to be there to celebrate with us. There's no need for childhood neighbors to attend. There's no need for distant cousins we haven't seen in 15 years to attend. Just the people who have been with us on our journey. 100% agree. I personally will be having a small wedding. Like, if we don't talk to you, you're not in our corner, like we haven't spoke to you in a long time, you're probably not going to be invited because plates of food, like per plate per person, is expensive. It's like over $100 per person, depending on where you get it. And I would rather put that money into like a nicer venue or nicer like gifts for our guests and like really spoil the guests that we have versus having 200 guests and only really talking to like 25 of them just to appease your family. I don't know. That might be a hot take. It's probably going to ruffle a lot of feathers. And that's just like my personal opinion. It has nothing to do with this, but I'm just validating you. I 100% agree with that. You go, queen. The wedding gown. This is non-negotiable. A bride chooses her gown, and I will be choosing one that I can be comfortable being in. This is the first time I'll be wearing a dress since prom. Reflects my personal style and makes me feel beautiful, not anyone else's personal style. Full stop, bestie. That's the point. Is like it's for you. Nobody else has an opinion unless you want them to, but you don't have to listen. The venue. Okay, this is a bit cringe, but my fiance and I met at a speed dating event at a restaurant that was running 4 years ago. We hit it off, and here we are. Our absolute first choice for the reception venue is this place. Their event space will fit 50 people max. We thanked her for the generous $25,000, but we would give it back if our decisions aren't respected. We asked if she has any expectations around any decision making that comes with the gift. My future mother-in-law cried and apologized and told us she just wanted everything to be perfect, and she said that she never had a daughter who she can play a normal motherly role in wedding planning. What does she consider a normal motherly role? I would have followed up with that question. That she was so scared that I'd leave her out of everything, which I never did. I wanted her to feel included. I don't trust it, but she did apologize. So there you go. We had a resolution. We just posited the check and started to move from the spitballing ideas to the confirming vendors phase. When I called the restaurant we wanted for the reception, their private function room was unfortunately booked out for our very specific date that we can't change, which was really sad. So we decided to start looking at other options. A few days later, I get a call from a wedding planner who proceeds to tell me that my future mother-in-law hired her to help with the wedding. WTF? I called my future mother-in-law and she explained that my fiance mentioned we lost our preferred venue and wanted to take some pressure off my shoulders and hired a wedding planner. She insisted the planner was just to do all the background admin tasks. Okay. That's not necessarily bad. If someone hired a wedding planner or wedding coordinator for me, I'd be like, hell yeah. But you better talk to me first. And you better, like, I want an opinion on who you're hiring. Like, if you're genuinely doing this as a gift, I want to make sure that there's someone who is skilled at doing the type of wedding that I would want. Like, all of that. I want to talk to them and know where their head's at. Like, don't just hire someone and not tell me. That would be the issue. The fact that she hired her, not the issue. The fact that she hired her and didn't tell her, huge issue. I decided to give her the benefit of the doubt. Not sure why a wedding planner is needed for a small wedding or why they'd even bother taking the job, but if my future mother-in-law wants to spend her money on making things a little easier for me, that's fine. I met with the planner twice, described her vision for the wedding, and she said she'd put together some bookings to view venues, taste cakes, etc. Here's where the shit hits the fan. The planner sent us a list of venues she's booked for us to see. We had a look online and all the venues are large, like designed for 200 guests. We're confused, and when we went to the first appointment yesterday, my fiance joked that 50 people won't need this much dance room. The planner looked confused and explained that future mother-in-law contacted her last week to explain to me we're considering expanding the wedding and will need a bigger space than originally planned. Okay. She agreed that she wouldn't have to control any of the decision-making. She never agreed that she wouldn't have a wedding planner do it. I see what you're doing, mother-in-law. You're actually diabolical. We got home and I called my mom and cried to her that this is all just too damn much, and we are now considering eloping. My mom's spidey senses tingled and she called the original restaurant we wanted and was like, I'm calling about an event my sister is planning and she's so forgetful. I just want to confirm she's booked the private function room. It's for blank date and my sister's name is insert mother-in-law's name. You guys, this booked the effing venue out from under us. She booked it and paid a deposit to secure it so we couldn't have it. I can only imagine she did this to slowly convince us to book a larger venue and host a larger reception. My fiance called her and tore her a new one. He told her she's no longer involved in any aspect of planning. We will not be working with her planner. All vendors will be password protected, and she's lucky she's even still invited, but will only be attending as a guest. No speech, no mother-son dance. He also told her that if she interferes at all again, she won't even be allowed as a guest. We transferred the money back to her account. I told him I'm going no contact. I don't really want her there, but I will be polite on her wedding day because I don't want drama, but then I'm back to no contact for good. He's 100% backing me up. We love when a king backs up his fiance. Like, he didn't fold under mom, which is what we see all the time, and I couldn't ask for more. Like, obviously, we want the mother-in-law to not be crazy and go full whatever this is, but the fact that the husband stood behind the wife and immediately said, like, we're not doing this, or this, like, hit her where it hurts, no speech, no mother-son dance, like, that is gonna really hurt her, because I feel like the reason why so many parents slash mother-in-laws want involved in this is because of their reputation. Like, they want everyone to see that their son is like having this beautiful wedding and like da da da. Like, it all has to do with reputation. Like, look at how close me and my son are. Look at how beautiful and amazing his wedding is. Aren't you jealous? Like, I feel like that is such a common thing among mother-in-laws and bridezillas and why they do a lot of what they do in these situations. So the fact that he's like, no speech, no mother and son, no involvement, that is really going to hurt her where it hurts, because, people are going to see that and they're going to be like, well, I wonder what happened. Why aren't they doing that? So you go, man. That is the final update. I will read the top comment. While she's insane, booking it behind your back is psycho. OP said, I kind of wish I didn't find that out. That felt like twisting the knife, but it also was the thing that really opened my eyes. Yeah, I feel like that opened your fiance's eyes too, because in the past, like, she was controlling, but she hadn't reached out to a vendor yet. So the fact that she did, even if you didn't have a date set with them yet, she knew that's who you were planning on using and she interfered with that. She sucks. We hate her. But that is it. I really enjoyed this one. I hope that you guys did too. Obviously, she is not the bridezilla. If you can, definitely let me know your thoughts on all of these stories. Let me know your favorite one, what your thoughts are on how everything played out, mother-in-laws, brides, friends, all of the tea. I'm giving you my opinion, so it's only fair that you give me yours if you're on a platform where you can do so. I'm looking at you, Spotify and YouTube. You guys are the ones with the comments. You gotta carry the weight for everybody who's listening but may not be on a platform where they can chat about it. So yeah, I upload every single Sunday and Wednesday. I'm not sure how Wednesday episode is going to go yet. I'm going to be on a business trip, so I'm going to try and film it. It might be a little bit shorter. I don't know. We're going to see how it pans out. We're going to see what happens. But I'm hoping to still have something up on Wednesday for you guys. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I love you so, so much. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch or listen. It means the world to me. Every single one of you are important to me. I look at every single comment, every single anything, and even like just if someone subscribes, like, I see you, I love you, and I appreciate it more than you know. But with that, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'll catch you on the flippity flip. Bye, guys.